From a fast-rising startup formed as a gaming company in 2009 to being acquired by Salesforce late last year for over $27 billion, workplace chat app Slack is making some billion-dollar moves. No surprise, Slack is now taking a bigger stab at becoming a thought leader in matters of the workplace of the future, the tools and cultural change that will enable it. In comes my next guest, Brian Elliott, the former head of platform at Slack and now head of Future Forum, a new Slack-led consortium that aims to rethink the modern workplace. Brian spent the last 2 decades leading teams and building companies at Slack, Google, and a number of startups, and today we unpack how to rethink for the way work should be, not the way it's always been. You don't want to miss this. The big things that we both are aligned on, and I think we gravitated towards each other because of this, is that diversity does bring good business. It's good for us all. But the hard truth is to facilitate that, right, takes some level of leadership, and it's about how do you toss off each other and build those systems to create for success. And so what are you seeing here in terms of what leaders are doing to do that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things to unpack there. One is social and emotional skills are the most important skills from a leadership perspective. That's been true for a long time. It's becoming increasingly true, though. The more that technology automates quantitative skills, the more important it is that your leaders actually have the ability to inspire confidence in their teams, to help them build trust in one another, to give them psychological safety. It's also, besides putting those skills in place, it's important, therefore, as a leadership team to think about how are you building teams that have some of those dynamics, and how are you as an executive team representing those different points of view. I'll give you a couple of concrete examples. If you were thinking about going with a more distributed model, but if all of your executives show back up on the same floor of the same building 5 days a week, and you've told your team that they can have flexibility in where and when they work, you've given them a very false sense of flexibility, right? Because power dynamics are what they are. If all of your executive team shows up on the same floor, every other person who has career aspirations is going to want to get in there for meetings. So we've started doing things at Slack, for example, where our Nadia Rawlinson, our Chief Human Resource Officer, was hired in Chicago. Slack sort of kind of had an office in Chicago before this, but she's our first senior executive in there. Stuart is very seldom in San Francisco, right? We've intentionally thought about where and when will our executives show back up. How are we going to think about how, as executives, we bring together not only a more diverse set of viewpoints, but also importantly, how we think about building up patterns that don't fall back into old norms that then therefore bring everybody else back.